From the BzG studio in the Mission Dolores district, right in the heart of San Francisco, it's BzG News with Barrett Courtney.
Thank you so much all the way back there. Thank you so much all the way over here. And thank you especially to the people right here. What's up, everybody? My name is Barrett Courtney, and this is BzG News, your last resort for all of the nerdy news that happened this last week. Now, the show isn't about real world news like storm whatever that's going to eat up Florida. Storm Hermine, which when I saw this trending on Twitter, let me say, tropical storm Hermine. I honestly when I saw that hashtag Hermine trending on Twitter, I thought a bunch of people were just misspelling Hermione from Harry Potter. And then I clicked into this, and apparently tropical storm Hermine could trigger dangerous storm surge and flooding in Florida. Bye, Florida. We won't miss you, except for Disney World. But, you know, there's Disneyland, which is basically like easy version of Disney World. So, you know, whatever. And, you know, we also already have Harry Potter World. So, you know, it's whatever. And it's also not a show about Colin Kaepernick sitting down during the Pledge of Allegiance, was it the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever? Maybe I don't even know. Let's look this up. This is not a show about that, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Colin Kaepernick, the national anthem. There we go. He sat down during the national anthem. A lot of people are upset about that, but let me tell you here, this is going to be an interesting episode of BzG News. I'm not all dressed up. I'm reading off the computer today. It's just gonna be a fucking fuck show today. It's gonna be a show of fuck, and I don't care. It's gonna be good. Colin Kaepernick, if you don't know, quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. But even though the 49ers aren't in San Francisco anymore, the San Francisco 49ers sat through the national anthem a couple days ago, and a lot of people were really upset. But, you know, a lot of NFL players have, you know, beat their wives and raped women and taken drugs and gotten arrested for drug use and yada yada yada. Those people, totally okay. Yeah, let's forgive those people. This one guy who sits through the national fucking anthem is just like the worst human being. Apparently, all these people are fucking upset over here, upset over here. Like, what the fuck? Why I'm mad about this? Colin Kaepernick has the fucking right to sit whenever he wants to. That is literally like it's not law to sit or to stand during the national anthem. Is it the sign of respect to the history of our country? Yeah, sure. But it's not a law. All these other NFL players are breaking laws. You know, they're fucking fine. They go through so much stress. They're fine. And it's just like, no, come on. That's number one. Number two, our country, when it was coming into its own, right? A lot of people were coming here to escape religious repression. They were trying to find religious freedom. That was one of the founding things of this country. That was one of the ideas when this country was formed. And not to, like, you know, rape women or beat their wives or whatever, like these other NFL players. Colin Kaepernick is expressing his religious freedom to, you know, and also religious freedom, but also his right to protest, right? And that's another thing that our country was founded on, was the right to protest. And now he's this fucking person who is so anti-American, but he's exercising his rights that were thought of by the founders of America and are idealisms that the founders of America really wanted people to think about in our country. And it's a fucking weird thing, right? Why are people just so fucking stupid? I don't know. He is literally protesting, and you're shaming him for that when other players have done way worse things, and, you know, he's just exercising his right to do so. Is it possibly a sign of disrespect? I guess, but you know what? There's a reason why this country was founded. We were going against Great Britain. We were going against this. We were disrespecting old beliefs, and this is what he's doing. And so you're saying that's very anti-American to do so. But no, I think that's the most American thing to do, actually. And all of you people hating him for that, that's actually the most Britain thing to do. So why go to fucking Britain and not be part of the Europe nation, whatever. Anyway, this is not a show about those things. This is a show about all the crazy, fucked up, nerdy news that you need to know about. And the first piece of news, I had a long night last night. I didn't type up the script for BzG News. I just gathered the news and I put it all on my computer, and I'm just going to read it off of here. So a lot of these, almost all of these news stories come from our good friends at IGN.com. Now, I'll give credit to where credit's due for who's writing each one. This first one was written by Alex Osborne, who writes, sadly, Willy Wonka, Young Frankenstein star Gene Wilder dies at age 83. Gene Wilder, the beloved actor who starred in a number of iconic films, including Young Frankenstein and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, died today. This was yesterday? Yes. Or 2 days ago. Died today in his home. By the time you're watching this, it'll be 4 days ago, I think. In his home in Stamford, Connecticut, he was 83. His nephew, Jordan Walker Perlman, released a statement via Variety about Wilder's passing, saying his death was due to complications with Alzheimer's disease. According to Walker Perlman, the decision to wait until this time to disclose his condition wasn't vanity, but more so that the countless young children that would smile or call out to him, "There's Willy Wonka," would not have to be then exposed to an adult referencing illness or trouble and causing delight to travel to worry, disappointment, or confusion, unquote. This is a very, very tragic thing to happen. 2016 really sucks so far. We've had I'm forgetting people's names now, but it was Gene Wilder just passed away, and then we also have Alan Rickman, and there's someone else who passed away earlier this year. I feel like, David Bowie as well. Like a lot of great people have died this year, and it's really tragic. And something like Alzheimer's disease hits pretty hard for me, because I feel like I do have complications with memories, and Alzheimer's is a little more than that, but there is something there personal for me. So when I heard this, I've seen that type of pain before, and it's really sad. And Gene Wilder, we will remember you and all of your great roles throughout your entire life. And I'll always remember the story, and I don't know if this is true or not. Apparently he was having a conversation when they were filming Willy Wonka, and they were talking about his first entrance, his first scene when he walks out of the chocolate factory. And I don't know if this was actually like something that they talked about, or this is just a story that I heard, that him walking out with the cane, and then him leaving the cane and realizing the cane is still there, and then he falls over, and that fall turns into like a flip, and then it's just like all pretend and whatnot. Apparently Gene Wilder was the one who made that decision, because from there on out, just with that simple sort of comedic visual like comedy right there, from there on out you would not know if Willy Wonka was telling the truth or lying, just by that simple action of like what he's doing right there, and it sets his character up really well. I would like to think that story is true, just because that is a great in-depth look at a character, and like sort of setting up and foreshadowing what this character may be later in the story. So rest in peace, Gene Wilder. Anyway, moving on. Lucy O'Brien from IGN writes that Mark Hamill may have just confirmed appearance in Star Wars Episode 9. She goes on to continue. Hamill tweeted out a video of himself getting his Skywalker beard shaved off, accompanied by some adorably celebratory text mentioning Episode 9. He shows like his face getting shaved, and he's like, "I haven't seen my chin since May 2015, so #farewell facial fur and #bye bye beard, at least until Episode 9. Now, I wouldn't say that this is like a confirmation. Maybe this is like, I may or may not be in this movie. So if they want me back for this movie, like I'll have to grow the beard back and whatnot. But you would assume that he does know his fate by the end of episode 8. So he might have been like, oh yeah, I know that I live by the end of episode 8. So I possibly may be back for 9. So I feel like the only thing that has been confirmed is he lives by the end of 8. And I'm really excited to see where his character goes, and so what's been happening to Luke Skywalker these last 20 or so years in between episode 6 and sort of episode 8 at this point, because you barely get to see him in 7. So I'm excited. It seems like they are sort of wrapping up, or at least he wrapped up shooting for episode 8. If he was able to shave off this beard, he's probably done. And you usually don't do that until like the director and the producers are like, even after reshoots, they're like, okay, you're done. You don't need to do this. You don't need any more scenes. Like, cause sometimes that'll happen, right? Where, it happened to Chris Evans for Avengers, and they sort of had to hide it in the stinger, the final like sort of stinger in Avengers, where they're all eating shawarma. Chris Evans is going like this, and you can't see his face, and it's actually because he grew out his beard for the movie with the train. And it's all the earth is all icy and cold, and it seemed like it was going to be a really cool movie, and then it wasn't. It was okay. But yeah, he had grown out his beard for that, and they were like, "Oh, we got to do one more scene." He's like, "Fuck," and they're just like, "All right, just hide your face." And so little things like that happen all the time. So I believe the only two things that have been confirmed really is he lives to the end of episode 8. That makes him think like, "Oh, I might possibly be back for episode 9," because they might have a script ready for episode 9. Who knows? But I honestly don't think they're quite there yet. I wouldn't believe so. And that he's done shooting the new movie. So I'm excited. The most recent comments, or the top comments on this article, I'm going to give a shout out to one Eudaimonia. I don't fucking know how to pronounce that. He commented, "I hope in the end he goes to Tashi Station to finally get those power converters." And that would actually be a really funny thing, and I honestly hope that's either in episode 8 or episode 9. That would be fucking dope. Anyway, moving on. Also from IGN, Alex Osborne writes, "Warner Brothers reportedly wants Daniel Radcliffe for Harry Potter sequel movie. And if there's anything that could make me groan harder, it's that." He goes on to write, while Harry Potter star Daniel Radcliffe has made it clear he'd like to distance himself from his breakout role, Warner Brothers is reportedly looking to bring J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child stage play to the big screen and wants Radcliffe to star. According to New York Daily News, the studio hopes to release the film as early as 2020, with one source telling the outlet that, quote, Warner's is secretly working on getting the movie rights and the screenplay settled. And of course, in their minds, only one man should be Harry, unquote. The source went on to say that Radcliffe has no intention of reprising the role, quote, anytime soon, unquote, which, quote, could be until he hits 40, unquote. Thanks to his recent success in other films and Broadway performances, he's in no hurry to return to the character, so he will need some persuading, according to the Daily News sources. I understand Daniel Radcliffe's sort of view on this, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. I would like to see him grow as an actor outside of this franchise. Like I've been watching the Harry Potter movies recently with Sean Pitts, who has never he read up until book 4, and then he's never seen or read anything after that. So he's experiencing the final half of these Harry Potter stories for the first time, and it's cool to see Daniel Radcliffe grow up and sort of like become a pretty decent actor. And some other movies that he's been in recently, Swiss Army Man, and there's like that rom-com he was in with Kylo Ren, and he's pretty good. And I would like to see him grow into some more meatier roles. Like those movies are okay and he does well in them, but I would like to see him take on some deeper roles and show off his acting chops, because that would be really, really fucking cool. So I like that he wants to distance himself from Harry Potter, because it's the easy money, but maybe he doesn't want that easy money. Maybe he wants to go the hard route, and I respect that. And I honestly, we don't need a Cursed Child movie. We didn't even need the Cursed Child in the first place. It's this whole muddled thing of like, oh, is it like a true sequel? We guess, but it wasn't turned into a book. We started it out as a fucking play, and now there's a book that's just the script, and it's this whole fucking thing. And I'm rereading the Harry Potter books right now. I'm only on Azkaban. I've been busy with a lot of things, so I haven't been able to fast track reading through them. And I'm reading through them before I read Cursed Child. But from what I hear of Cursed Child, it's very fan fiction-y feeling and yada yada yada. So I'm just not, and I know a couple of plot points they have in Cursed Child, and what I hear, I'm like, that sounds awful. Why would they go back to the storyline? It just, Harry's story is done, and that's my problem. I'm gonna rant about this for a second. Harry's story is done, but I don't think that you need to be done with the Wizarding World. I totally respect that. I'm super excited for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, because you're sticking to that universe, but you're telling another story. It's not always about Harry. It's very much like Star Wars, where I'm excited for Rogue One, because Star Wars isn't always about these fucking guys with force powers and shit. It's about like other people and who aren't a part of this big like universal thing that is at the center of this world, right? So I like that idea. So to go back to Harry's story, which is fucking finished, and to like learn about his kid who was boring in both the book and the movie, and it's just like, why do I give a shit? I love this story, but why should I give a shit anymore? So apparently again, I don't want to say anything, just because if you haven't read Cursed Child and you want to read it, or if you want to see it and yada yada yada, I don't want to ruin anything that I know. At least sort of the reason they try to make you care in Cursed Child, I think, is fucking stupid, and I don't understand it. So whatever. I really hope that they don't get to pull it off. I really hope they can't do it, because Daniel Radcliffe doesn't want to do it, and I think that's a smart idea to not want to do it, because I don't think it's going to be good, and I think a lot of people are going to get really pissed off when they see the movie and they're like, "Oh, that sucked." Anyway, moving on. Nicole Carpenter writes at IGN.com, The Incredibles 2 is, quote, going in a new direction, unquote. The sequel is slated for release in 2019. Production on The Incredibles 2 is, quote, actively moving, unquote, director Brad Bird announced. Details on the sequel to Pixar's 2004 superhero film are still being kept secret. The film is still years away, but Bird confirmed that work on The Incredibles 2 is ongoing. It's very, quote, it's very actively moving, and we're excited about it. He went on to say, we're trying to take it in some new directions. And he goes on, he continues with, he wants to have the same characters and feels, and that's the trick with a sequel. It's repeating yourself without your repeating yourself, unquote. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh no, this is in trouble, because they're giving an update without they're talking about going in a new direction. So for some reason that warrants people being concerned about this movie. But no, what he says there with the whole that's the trick with a sequel, repeating yourself without repeating yourself. It's being able to hit those same moments that got people excited without giving the same exact plot. It's like Shovel Knight, right? Where Shovel Knight is this great homage to 16-bit games. I want to say 16-bit. I could be wrong. And it's not copying those, directly copying everything from those games like Mega Man and DuckTales and yada, yada, yada. But it's able to use the tone and those moments that you remember of why you love this. And I think that's really smart. And that's Brad Bird's an amazing director. So I have all hope in his movie, or I have all faith. That's what I should say, is in his movie, because he knows not to directly give the same exact plot in the second one, but to remind people why they love The Incredibles. And I think that's a smart thing they need to focus on. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. But anyway, let's move on. Scott Kalora writes on IGN.com, Batman star / director Ben Affleck teases Deathstroke. So if you don't know, this like blew the fuck up on Twitter. Ben Affleck posted a video on Twitter of what seems to be footage of Deathstroke in the upcoming solo Batman movie. Scott Caluro writes, Batman star Ben Affleck has revealed a mysterious teaser on his social media accounts depicting the DC villain Deathstroke in action. While Affleck is currently shooting Justice League in London, he also has a standalone Batman movie in the works, which he will co-write and direct in addition to starring in. It's unclear which of these projects the Deathstroke footage is related to. Check out the video below. So it is unclear which this is relating to, this Deathstroke footage. But my assumption is that this will probably be in Justice League. And because he will, Ben Affleck will co-write and direct in addition to starring in this Batman movie. They haven't even, he will co-write, right? What Calora says there, he will do this. They haven't really set on a script yet, And so you don't film a scene of Deathstroke without even knowing what the plot of your movie is going to be, right? That's bad direction, and that's bad sort of coming up with a movie, So you usually want to focus on the story first before you start shooting and getting a cool looking Deathstroke suit together and whatnot. So I honestly think this might be like a quick scene in Justice League, and it might build up in the solo Batman movie. They might actually be thinking about we should tease Deathstroke because he's going to be the main villain in the Batman movie. Who knows? So cool piece of news. I'm excited to see if Deathstroke is in Justice League, sort of how he interacts with Batman. If we get a really cool fight scene, because Batman Arkham Origins, really cool boss fight, Deathstroke. And the trailer, the cinematic trailer that they revealed for Batman Arkham Origins, where they're fighting on all the crates and whatnot. That was a really cool trailer and really well sort of directed, and the fighting was just really dope. So I would hope to see that in Justice League, or maybe a solo Batman movie. Who knows? Moving on, more comic book movie news. Alex Osborne writes, Doctor Strange. Did Dan Harmon accidentally reveal additional villain? So if you don't know, on a recent episode of Harmontown podcast, Harmon pulled up a list of files on his computer while discussing a possible Community film he's been working on. If you don't know, Dan Harmon has worked on a lot of different things. I believe he's worked on Community. He is one of the creators of Rick and Morty, and he was asked to give in some last minute edits to the script for Doctor Strange. And while he was scrolling on this podcast, someone pointed out a document that showed Strange confronts Dormammu. That's whatever the document title was. And so this could be a leak, or it could be something fake, because Dan Harmon's a silly guy, so he might have known, he might have planned ahead, oh, I know, I'm gonna show, I'm gonna pop up my computer and I'll put it in this little thing just to fuck with people. Who knows? But we do know that in the Doctor Strange movie that Mads Mikkelsen will be playing the villain, who is Caecilius. I don't know how to say that. We'll figure out when we fucking watch the movie later this year. So that's the lead villain. So Dormammu might be a stinger, or possibly a plot twist reveal villain or something. Who knows? Or they might do Marvel magic work here, where they try to tie in all of these comic things. Maybe Caecilius. I still don't know how to say that. Turns into Dormammu, or maybe Caecilius is working for Dormammu the entire time. Who knows? So, little cool thing right there. I'm excited to see how Dormammu would work, because I honestly think Dormammu could be the next big villain after Thanos. Because I'm trying to think what other big villain would bring in all of these Avengers to get together and fight one person after Thanos. Who could that possibly be? Maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe should just end after Thanos. So cool little thing. Look out for Doctor Strange later this year. Comes out on November 4th. I'm excited. We're already in September. This is really weird. It's our first episode of BzG News in September of 2016. And the last piece of news, or like official sort of like news. I'm going to talk about a couple of different things after this. Is Undertale soundtrack coming to vinyl? Jonathan Dornbush from IGN.com writes, Undertale's 100 plus song soundtrack is now available to pre-order on vinyl via IM8-bit. The soundtrack from Undertale creator Toby Fox comes on 2 LPs, and anyone who pre-orders the soundtrack before September 5th, which is, let's see, tomorrow, September 1st, September 2nd, 3rd. So this Monday, up until this coming Monday, you can pre-order. You get a free limited edition 7-inch vinyl pressing of "Annoying Dog" song from the game. The vinyl collection will also come with a digital download of the soundtrack, as well as an insert of a Sand Monster Kids word search from Undertale, like when you're doing all the puzzles from shit. Why am I forgetting? I gotta look this up. I conveniently have my computer. Sans brother, Undertale, Papyrus. Thank you. We're doing all the Papyrus like puzzles and sand leaves, like the little like weird word search thing. So you get like that's an actual insert. And there's also a insert of like the dog, like the annoying dog. So the collection costs $35 and has an expected quarter for Q4 2016 ship date. The album was designed by Drew Wise with details featuring more than 100 characters from the game. Head to I am 8-bit right now to order the soundtrack. And just so this was a thing that closed out IGN's like little article here, and I want to read it out. Just because if you haven't played Undertale, you should. They say Undertale received a 10 from IGN in our review, in which we call the game, quote, a masterfully crafted experience, unquote. Undertale is fucking awesome. The soundtrack is really amazing. Shout out to Grimecraft, local, or sort of, well, he lives here. I don't know if he's from here. San Francisco DJ who does like video game like remixes to songs and whatnot. He does a really good Undertale remix, and he's the fucking G. So shout out to Grimecraft. Go check out his work on YouTube, SoundCloud, yada yada yada. So I actually might get this because again, Undertale soundtrack really really cool. Makes me actually want to play Undertale again. So look out for that. Now that was all the like nerdy news. This is the last piece of news I would say, and I've got something else to talk about after the news. Is not like fucking TV superhero movies and comic books and video games. This is actually something really cool. IndieWIRE, Liz Shannon Miller from IndieWIRE writes, Bill Nye saves the world. To give Netflix a new take on talk shows. So Bill Nye is getting a new show on Netflix, and it's going to be a talk show where the synopsis is, this is directly from Netflix, quote, each episode will tackle a topic from a scientific point of view, dispelling myths and refuting anti-scientific claims that may be exposed by politicians, religious leaders, or titans of industry, unquote. So this is really cool. This is going to be Bill Nye like talking the real talk and be like, no, stop being dumb. And shout out to, again, I'm forgetting everybody right now because I forget a lot. And that's when I talked about the beginning of the episode. I'm scared of Alzheimer's because I have terrible, terrible memory. Mike Drucker, who used to be a writer for SNL and then also, or I believe SNL, right? Yes, writer for SNL, and used to work at IGN, and recently left the Tonight Show. Left the Tonight Show to go do this. So shout out to Mike Drucker. He's a really funny dude. I'm excited to see like if I can pick out like what he's going to be writing, because I sort of get his like sense of humor. So maybe I'll be able to see those tones in Bill Nye's new show. And it's this new show, Bill Nye Saves the World, is slated for spring 2017. So be on the lookout for that. And speaking of Netflix, we're going to transition. We don't have any... this is the end of the news. Usually at the end of the news, I have a segment called Don't Forget, where all the upcoming movies, video games, TV shows, comics, music, porn, I don't know, all this new stuff that's coming out this coming week. There's like nothing coming out. It's like a lot of just garbage. A lot of garbage is coming out this week, and I don't want to talk about garbage, but I'm going to bring back an old segment called Netflix and Chill, not with Ricky Baldazan, sadly. Rest in peace, Ricky. He's not really dead. He's just living in Sacramento, which is basically death. So I want to talk about the new things coming to Netflix in the month of September, just because there weren't a lot of things to talk about for Don't Forget. So I figured I'd just do this. So by the time you're watching this, you can watch these things right now. We've got Jaws coming to Netflix. We've got Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Don't recommend it. We got Cats and Dogs. Really good kids movie. So if you want your kid to, be quiet for a couple hours, that's a good one. Let's see. Going down, Footloose. Good one. Hoots. If you want to see very young Logan Lerman acts very adequately, it's a good one. Also, Jaws 2 and Jaws 3. Jaws the Revenge. Probably not that good. Man on Wire, which I think is the documentary. There's the recent movie that came out with Joseph Gordon-Levitt called Man on Wire or whatever. I think this is Man on Wire. I think is the documentary of what. Let's look this up. Man on Wire. So this is like the documentary that came out in 2008. That's about the guy who walks on the wire between the two World Trade Center buildings. So there's that. Top Gun. Great volleyball scene in that. And that's everything you can watch today. Also Saving Private Ryan and Scary Movie 2. Now, I always forget if I like... There's one of the scary movies I actually do decently enjoy. I always forget if it's 2 or 3. It's whatever the one that's making fun of 8 Mile, because that scene's fucking hilarious. What you can watch also today, I guess, Narcos Season 2. A lot of people like Narcos, so look out for that. And that's really it of any consequence. Coming out later this month, we've got... Not much. Let's see. Supergirl Season 1. So if you've been waiting for that nice Supergirl action, I guess, that's cool. If you want to like catch up on it and like familiarize yourself with the story that's going on so far, because it might possibly become a better show since it's going to the CW. That might be something up your alley. London Has Fallen, probably really bad. Walking Dead Season 6. Penny Dreadful Season 3. I hear a lot of people like Penny Dreadful. Gotham Season 2. Awful. Zootopia. I'm really excited to finally watch Zootopia. I've yet to see it. So I'm excited. I can't believe that's already going to be on Netflix. That's fucking crazy. It's mind blowing. New Girl Season 5. Not that great. Longmire. Not a lot of people, but I see some people talking about Longmire and how they appreciate and respect it and like it or whatnot. Portlandia Season 6, and the most important thing coming out on September 30th is Marvel's Luke Cage Season 1. I totally forgot. I always felt like this was always going to be like so far in the future, and here we are. It's the fucking month where Luke Cage is coming out. I'm really excited. The trailers so far look really dope. I think it's going to have a really nice tone and a really nice story. I think it will have a sort of different tone from Jessica Jones, possibly similar since, that's where he was introduced. So they might have introduced him in Jessica Jones to be like, hey, these two characters are going to go, like, maybe not have a similar story, but obviously not, but like have a similar tone, whatnot. But yeah, one of the recent trailers that had, what's it? Old Dirty Bastard, where it's playing Baby I Like It Raw in the background. That was a really good trailer. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Anyway, that was all of the news this week. Nothing big or anything of consequence coming out this coming week. So I don't know, just enjoy the things that are already out. Let me think. What am I doing this weekend? What things am I going to enjoy this weekend? I'm not working at all. Let me tell you this. I'm going to give you an update of my life. I'm not working all this Saturday and Sunday and Monday. I'm not doing anything. I might do some video editing, which shouldn't take too long because I'm just going to be editing podcasts and whatnot. So the new show that we're doing for BzG, the B-List, we announced it yesterday. First episode comes out tomorrow. I'm not going to say here what the first episode's about, but I think this weekend I'm going to be watching a couple movies to prepare for the second episode. And I think I'm going to read some Harry Potter. Like I said, I'm rereading the Harry Potter books right now. And I want to finally start watching Stranger Things. They announced Stranger Things season 2 is officially happening, which is really cool. And I saw that and I was like, all right, I gotta watch this show. So that might happen this weekend. So that may be what I do this weekend. Leave what you're gonna do in comments below. Just do a little type and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing this weekend. And I'll like it. I'll like it. And then you like this video, and then we like each other, and then we give each other hugs. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for BzG News. Remember, it's your last resort for all of the crazy, fucked up, nerdy news, and it comes out every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on youtube.com/BetaZonaGamers and BZGamers.com. Be on the lookout tomorrow for our new show, The B-List, which I'm very excited for. I put a lot of hard work into this first episode, so check it out. I think it's the dopest dope you've ever smoked. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me this week. And until next time, keep talking shit. Thank you. Or no, that's the wrong show. Stay nerdy. Yeah. See, I told you it was going to be fucking mess this episode. Stay nerdy, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.